This video is about wet venting and made some pretty bold statements saying you can't connect a 3-inch floor drain unless it's an emergency to a wet vent. So if you have a 3-inch funnel floor drain or something, then your inspector is going to fail you for that, which is kind of a bold statement. So let's jump right into it. Wet venting. So first of all, most importantly, let's just read the code first. A soil or waste stack. A soil or waste pipe may serve as a wet vent provided the hydraulic load is in accordance with 2581. So that's pretty easy. Everyone knows what 2581 looks like. The number of wet vented water closets does not exceed 2. So the second statement, we're talking about water closets right off the bat. And we're saying that the number of wet vented water closets, so we're not talking about wet venting floor drains, just wet vented water closets does not exceed 2. Where 2 water closets are installed, they are connected at the same level by means of a double sanitary T fitting if the vent pipe is vertical, and by means of a double Y fitting if the vent pipe is horizontal. So again, we're talking about wet venting 2 water closets. Water closets are installed downstream of all other fixtures. Trap arms and fixture drains connected to the wet vent. So we're just talking about wet venting, right? So at this stage, we got about 85% of the population thinking that you can wet vent a floor drain in this, and we got 15% of the population that would read this and go, well, they only mentioned water closet so far. So I'm with you guys. Trap arms and fixture drains connected to the wet vents do not exceed 2 inches in size, except for connections from emergency floor drains in accordance with 2511. So trap arms and fixture drains, that's definitely a floor drain. Connected to the wet vent does not exceed 2 inches in size, except for the connections from the emergency floor drain. So that's it right there, right? And then so if you come in, it has to be emergency floor drain in accordance with sentence 2511. Let's go up to 2511, right? So you go right here and it says 25113. A trap serves a floor drain need not be protected where the size of the trap is not less than 3 inches. So I'm with you guys on this one too, where you have, a hub drain right here, and then you just pick up that hub drain, you got a sink right beside it, off your 3-inch, you're going over to your fixture drain, off your 3-inch, you put a 3x2 and go over to the sink, right? And that fixture, the funnel floor drain, need not be protected by a vent. So that just means that you don't have to, but you can, right? So then the inspector is going to come up and say, how did you vent that? And you might say, you obviously did vent it right through the sink. So then you're getting into wet venting, and that's how you're venting it. And that's why he can fail you on putting a 3-inch floor drain to the, that's why he can fail you for having a 3-inch floor drain connected to the 2-inch. And then let's read on. The total hydraulic load on the wet vent do not exceed limits stated in 2581 when separately vented branches or fixture drains in the same story having a total hydraulic load of not greater than 2 fixture units are connected to the wet vent or wet vented water closet trap arm. Okay, so 2 things I got to say about this separately vented fixture on the same story. First of all, you're going to get shop drawings from the office that have laid out with other trades telling you exactly where to go and how to plumb on from the shop. And it's a common mistake on there for them to, on a level, just before a level change, like on a 42-story high-rise, you'll see them rip a kitchen sink off for fixture not on the same level. So watch out for that. As well, yeah, it states right there in the code that if you're going to rip off an emergency, well, traditional installation, if you're doing a bathroom group and ripping off an emergency floor drain, let's say in an old folks home, you can't reduce the wet vented portion, so that's pretty straightforward. So you just keep your wet vents to your lav 3-inch for the drainage, and as well, there's a picture in the back of the book that shows so let's talk about a traditional installation, 2 sinks upstairs, double sink, and you got a bathroom group, and so you would want to have the second sink as your separately vented fixture connected to your wet vent, and that as well, your main run, you're gonna have to keep it not reduced. You're gonna have to keep a 3-inch on one of those lavs, so watch out for that, because the shop drawings won't dictate to you to keep that 3-inch all the time. Here's something that'll mess with you in your career. Go to 2581, right above the table. Make sure you read those 2 codes there. They will mess with you. And when determining the size of a wet vent, the hydraulic load for the most downstream fixture or symmetrically connected fixture shall not be included. Okay? Make sure you got that. The length of a wet vent is not limited, so this is a great code if you're going to have a mop sink, and then at the other end of the 300-foot warehouse you're gonna have a sink, so a janitor with a B-trap and then a sink at the other end. The length of the wet vent is not limited, so it's a great way to kind of get around the building.